Damn, I got that 3 stack in here. Oh, Steve. I thought you said you didn't have a Rhine in here. I guess you do. I maybe just said not an aggro Rhine. A lot of the time, if you don't have an aggro Rhine, the bubbles should still be on the Rhine, and you should just be giving him, vocal encouragement to press the W key at an opportune moment. Sometimes that's just how it is, I guess. But yeah, there's obviously other people you can bubble if that's not the case. Like right now, you do have a Genji and a Reaper, which are also pretty solid bubble targets. Like if they're getting aggressive on stuff. Oh wait, Grim is here. Cool. But yeah, like you can have your Genji go for a slightly more aggressive dash and bubble him. Like the same way that you would tell your Rhine, like, yeah, your Rhine's just like sitting here. It's kind of weird. Okay, so you bubbled yourself there, but you like backed behind the shield like pretty early, so I think, so like, just look real fast. So like, you want to step in front of the shield and then bubble, not bubble and then step in front of the shield, right? So like, so right here you should have, like, you're just kind of like walking back and forth behind the shield and like right clicking. You're not getting anything done. You're not going anywhere. Those right clicks aren't even like landing in a pile of people. They're just hitting shield. So if you're going to be hitting shield, you want to try and be a little closer and you want to be left clicking, but that's not a huge deal. But your Ryan's just hitting like back and forth, right? He's just kind of like strafing back and forth in choke right now, and you're just kind of sitting in the back and spamming. So what you should be doing, because you've already been doing this for a couple seconds, like you should be in front of your Rhine shield and soaking damage. If you're just gonna be chilling here, like there's zero meaning almost at all in you doing this at 0 charge. So you need to, like, if you're going to be standing in the open like this, you should be using your self bubble to get some damage taken, and then do this. Because like these 3 seconds that you've been sitting here, hitting AD, 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 and just hitting right click, well, you'd be getting more done if you would just, if you make sure you get your charge up. So first thing you need to be doing is make sure you get your charge up. So you should have walked in front of you right in there and shielded yourself. But anyways, we'll watch here. So see right here, watch when you bubble yourself. Right there, right here, right? So you walked out of view of the entire enemy team and then bubbled yourself. So like, look. So you were in front of their entire team right here. And then you walked out of LOS and then bubbled yourself. The only thing that can see you is the turret and this Torbjorn who's shooting a wall. But you should have done it when you were in front of the entire enemy team and they were spamming your shield with the hog, and you would have got way more charge. So do pay attention to like your bubble timing there, because it was like you went into cover and then bubbled yourself, which is why you only get 17 charge, and it was all from the turret. That was not a terrible bubble on your Rhine, but you do, I don't know, I obviously can't hear the comms, but you should have been like, okay, Rhine bubble on you, and then like tell him to swing. So that was fine, but you do want to communicate with your Rhine. That was a nice bubble. You should be a little bit more aggressive on yourself, nice, but I was going to say with your own bubble. So like if you walk in just a little bit here, because like you've had your bubble. Let's go back. Okay, let's watch. So your bubble, you have it right now. So if you're walking up a little bit, so right there your Rhine bubble, like you see that he's in trouble, right? Even with the bubble, he's still in trouble. So what you wanted to do is, you can kind of, like, you can't bubble him again, obviously, but you could stand in front of him and you can bubble yourself, and that takes another, 200 damage, and it'll give him a little bit of time to back up. So if you can walk in front of him, bubble yourself, and then back up behind him with his shield, because he'll be walking backwards holding right click probably, which means that you walk faster than him. So if you walk in front of him, bubble yourself, and then continue to back up, you should still overtake him and still be able to use his shield for protection. Because you watch right here, he's going to hit right click. See his right click, so you could have backed up. Either way, you're not that deep in. So, but the point is, you like trade back and forth with your bubble here and like try and get a little bit more aggressive and walk out there when you do it, not just like it's okay to do it when the Doom dives you, but you just should have been in a little deeper. That would, yeah, that's a good bubble on your Ryan there. Just being aggressive. Look a little lost there. It's okay though. Okay, so right there you bubbled yourself. Okay, you looked a little lost because like you went into the like into the side room here and like didn't, you know, it was kind of weird. So here, when you're bubbling yourself in front of the entire enemy team, you want to think who's going to be doing the damage to me that I'm soaking. In this case, it's Hog. It's either going to be Hog or Torbjorn almost every time for you against this enemy team. Because Doomfist is just really hard to get bubbles off of against. You gotta basically, like, it's okay for team bubbles, and it's okay if he like uppercuts you or something, but like other than that, Doomfist isn't gonna be doing almost any bubble damage to you. Moira, same thing. Her right click does like, you know, tickle damage, so it's not really worth bubbling by itself. Baptiste does a decent amount of damage, I guess, but he's just like, he's a hit scan and he's burst fire and he doesn't do that much damage. And also he's focusing and healing a lot of the time. So you're not going to be getting tons of charge from him. However, Roadhog, he just shits out damage everywhere. He just right clicks things. He's focusing shield most of the time, so he's just right clicking shield. So and it's a shotgun, so he's not gonna miss. You know, like your bubble or your shield. If you walk out in front of him when he's just spamming right clicks, and you shield yourself, you will catch some of those pellets of his shotgun, just because it's such a big area, and it does a decent amount. So you'll get charged really easily against Roadhog, and then same with Torbjorn. He's very spammy with his left click, and as well he does have a shotgun, but obviously he doesn't use as much. But so basically, if you're bubbling yourself for charge, you want to think about who you're bubbling. And what you did here is you bubbled yourself during Hog's reload, which is why you didn't get as much charge out of this as you should. Granted, you are standing in a good spot when you bubbled yourself, but you just need to be making sure that the people that you're trying to get to damage you are actually available to damage you. It's like right here, you want to wait until like, because he's like, there's a cadence to his shots like kapunk, kapunk, kapunk with Roadhog shots. So what you want to do is you want to wait until he's about to fire one of them, and then do it. Instead, what you did is you hear him like shoot like 6 times in 6-round mag, and then he reloads, and then you bubble yourself. So you want to wait a second and then bubble right before he shoots. But see, right here you bubbled and he's reloading, and you got like 10 charge. That bubble on the Ryan was a little early. If you're going to be bubbling your Ryan, obviously that was like, he charged in, so like obviously you were going to bubble him there. There was just nitpicking on the timing. You bubbled him immediately like when you saw him enter the charge animation. When he's doing shit like that, usually you want to wait until he's practically reached the wall, I think, until you bubble him. So like you want to wait until like he's almost there, because you wasted some of the bubble time with him still being safe in your team. And it's only a 2-second bubble, so you want to wait until he's like halfway there. You want to wait until he's like, I don't know, maybe, so like he started here. So you want to wait until he's maybe like at least an LS of the enemy. So like right here. Not just in LOS, but like you want to wait until he's both in LOS and until the enemies have had time to react to him. So say they're sitting right here, which they are. So, and your Ryan charges across their screen. So they're going to, like, obviously they won't be shooting him right here. They'll be shooting him like here because they need to react to him crossing that threshold. They're humans, they need like a half second or so to react. So your Ryan will pass, and then about a half second he'll be like right there. So you bubble him like right here. And then he hits the wall and he has bubble, and then he has it for like a second longer as well, instead of basically hitting the wall and then it's basically gone. So like just watch the timing on this bubble. We'll see if we can go back. Okay, so it was okay, and that was him overswinging that killed him. But you would have been able to better cover for his mistake if you'd timed the bubble just a little bit better. Maybe he would have noticed in time. Granted, he didn't. But a lot of the time, if I can get away with it, I even wait until my Ryan has landed the pin on the wall and then bubble him. That way you get the most possible out of that. Because a lot of the time you can even bait an anti or something. I know they don't have an Ana, but so like a lot of the time Anas will aim their nades, people will aim their CC or whatever, and they'll aim it for right when the Ryan impacts the wall because he's not moving. So that's what usually happens. So I'll wait for that ability that's being targeted at him to like be incoming basically. So like the Ana's like, oh, huge nade, and then I'll bubble the nade, or he'll get nade and I can cleanse it with the bubble. But obviously they don't have an Ana here, so that's kind of a moot point. But I just do think that in general he'll be taking the most damage the moment he lands the pin. So you want to probably bubble him when he lands the pin, if you can get away with it. If you think he's gonna die mid pin, then yeah, you bubble him mid pin. But I don't think he would have there. So just killing him. So here you want to. I was a little early on the bubble there. So once again, you wanted to wait until the Roadhog was chilling and looking at you, so he was healing there, and he wasn't going to be shooting obviously during his heal. So you want to chill for a second and bubble yourself during that. Here you're kind of just bubbling somebody randomly off cooldown there. So you have a Genji here. You need to be telling your Genji to like get aggressive. Either that or you're saving the bubble for the hook. But their hog hasn't been really landing any hooks from what I've seen. So I just go ahead and give it to your Genji or to your Reaper to allow them to get aggressive. So if you see your Reaper, he really doesn't have much done here. He's got 34% ult charge. I think that probably means he's having trouble getting close to people without being forced out. So I think you probably just tell your Reaper like, hey, get in their face, I'll bubble you. So like he'll walk in, get himself hooked, and you bubble him. Or he'll walk in, get himself stunned, you bubble him. Or he'll walk in and just start taking damage, and then instead of wraithing out, you bubble him, he gets healed a little bit, and then he can continue to get value. So that's decent for Reaper, but I also really like it for Genji. So you can just tell your Genji to like hard dive someone. So like if he just dove in to like this Moira here, for example, if you were okay, just like hard dive the Moira or the BAP, and he just like dashes in and like starts right clicking, and then you bubble him right after he dashes, and he just starts right clicking these guys, and then they break the bubble. He starts backing up, and then he deflects, and then you stand in front of him and bubble, and he's out. Or they just like it makes it way harder for them to do anything to him, you know, like because they have to wait the full 2 seconds of the bubble, which gives him more time towards his cooldowns being back, and also more time to start leaving immediately, so he can just dash in and start backing up immediately, and those extra 2 seconds give him like practically enough time to get back to his team without doing anything, even if they like do focus the bubble. It's still like he's already almost back, and he still has his deflect as well to help him get out. So I think if you don't have a Rhine, you want to communicate with one of your DPS, and you want to say, you know, I have bubble for you, basically, and like that's basically their cue to do something stupid or something they wouldn't usually do. So when Hog's healing, you don't usually want to hard focus him, but right after he's healing, it's good. That was not a good bubble. You just threw it out in the Reaper as he was wraithing. So you want to be communicating those with your DPS. So if you told your Reaper, like, hey, walk in and I'll bubble you, cool. Your Ana just died in the backline to a Doom. You bubbled the Reaper again during his Wraith form there. So when you see Reaper wraithing, that's literally like the only time you don't really want to bubble him. So I would say right after his Wraith is decent if he's still in trouble, or when he's not doing that. Like, so watch it get real fast. Let's go back here. Okay, so you're on his deck, which means probably back up a little bit. That or go really hard. One of the two. You bubbled him in his Wraith form. You're still, also you're kind of in the open here. I don't really like this. I think in general you want to be closer to the wall here. Just so because you don't have your Rhine, right? He's coming back from spawn, so you want to be a little bit closer to cover. So like if you do get forced out and like you have, so like you get focused and then you have to bubble yourself, and then okay, now your bubble's gone. There's only 200 HP in the last 2 seconds. You know, after those 2 seconds and or 200 HP of protection are destroyed or expired, you want to be somewhere safe. And usually that safe place would be right behind your Reinhardt. But you don't have a Reinhardt right now, so you need to be playing a corner or something. So if you're just standing in the middle of a point like this, like you need to be like expecting to use your bubble and then just being immediately hooked and killed, basically. Okay, so you are kind of walking back and forth there. We do want to try and escape after they boop you away like that, and you're down a Ryan and an Ana. But yeah, so I think mostly I want to see you communicating with your DPS a little bit more with their bubbles, because you can totally do it for Genji and Reaper. Like, these are actually great DPS for bubbles. The only one that's probably better is like Doom. That was early on the bubble. You want to try and wait till you can see the enemy at least. Either that or at least just tell the Ryan, like, hey, I'm going to bubble you, and then you can like walk in and get a little aggressive with it. I'd probably walk up a little bit here. It's not a terrible bubble, I guess. So you're looking for the Doom there. See, so if you're gonna Nano Blade, you save the bubble for that, like every time. And right here, you should be bubbling your Genji. So if you're grabbing something, you want to bubble whoever's following up on it. That way, they don't have to worry about their HP and stuff. So like, see, watch your Genji is like going and he's Nano Bladed, right? And he's doing stuff, doing Nano Blade things. So he's over here, and that grab is like. It's okay, I guess. Like if you're like just for some reason you're worried that you're gonna lose this fight, which I don't think I would be, considering they're down 3 and you are down 0, or no, you're down 1 because your Reaper just died. So you're down 1, they're down 3, and they're all weak as hell, and you still have your guy with Blade. So I don't think you would lose this, but that's fine. If you wanted to grab because you were for some reason worried about it, better to get the point and just get the point and then just have to build another grab than to lose the point because you didn't use it. So I'm not gonna really talk too much about the ult economy here, but you do see, so if you grab, it's you with 30 charge and your Genji who's half HP with his blade ending. So he's about to be stuck in his blade like closing animation, and which means he'll just be kind of defenseless for a second, and then after that he still need to help you follow up on the grab. Because you can't kill this hog by yourself, because you're 30 charge. So you need to be trying to bubble the only person on your team that can help you with it, so they can stand in front of the grab without worrying about it. So you see your Genji's here, and he's kind of like backing off. He's like, shit, dude, I can't get inside this grab because I'm half HP. And the hog notices this, and he's still focusing him. So, and right there, he dashes it. Like, it's possible he takes like a lot of damage with a shotgun there. So you should just be bubbling him when he's anywhere near your grab. They should bubble your Ana there. Nice. So here, you want to walk in front and soak some energy. I wouldn't have bubbled that. He was pretty weak when he ran away, so there was no way he really gets anything done there, I don't think. Maybe if he was like going hard and like starting to get some value, then you bubble that, but I think you should be walking up right now. Or you should have been at least there and like right onto this corner. That's where I would have been. So that was a decent bubble. Your Ryan walked in front of you for the end of it, but it was okay because like you actually took some damage from the Torb there. I don't know if that was intentional, but you were peeking the Torb. You want to be bubbling your Ryan here. It's a decent bubble. You want to tell him to drop shield though. I'd be right clicking the turret a little earlier next time because it has been there a while. Okay, their Ryan just kind of got himself owned. So they have no Ryan, which means that you are at a huge advantage here, so you should be walking up and holding left click on things. Okay, so when you get hooked by Hog, your Zarya, you're not going to get one shot, right? So you don't want to bubble yourself immediately upon being hooked, because he can't shoot immediately. So you want to get hooked, wait a half second, so watch, he shoots, and then you bubble. He's meleeing right now, he can't shoot you, right? So what you want to do is you want to wait just half a second, and now bubble yourself, basically, if he didn't get booped away. Like, he would be now shooting his second shot, right? So you want to catch that second shot to make sure that doesn't kill you. Like, basically, if you do it this way, a lot of the time he won't shoot at all, or, like, you just won't get any charge this way. So try and like, bait the shot there. When I did hear the Doom in the back there, I probably would have tried to 180 and bubble somebody, but it's okay. You are now dead. So you were pressing S and the rest of your team was pressing W there. If your supports are having trouble, they should probably say something in comms. You just want to 180 and just spam E. So you hear the Doom top left here. So, yeah, I was going to say bubble your Reaper maybe. That was fine. Okay, so you now see the turret on the right. So I'd focus that. You bubbled yourself and walked behind shield, so you want to press forward a little bit when your bubble's up, not backwards. And then after the bubble is down, then you go forward. I would have bubbled your Rhine there because you saw he was getting very aggressive going for a shatter, so I would have bubbled your Rhine there. I would not have woken him like that. If you're going to wake Doomfist, do it with burst damage so everybody can damage him at once. Your left click is tick damage, right? Like one tick at a time. And obviously one tiny little tick of damage will wake him up. Whereas your right click is burst damage. So I would be trying to count down with your team and kill him like on 3, 2, 1 type thing. So right there, you kind of just bubbled yourself when he wasn't really shooting at you. So you want to wait until they're actually shooting at you, especially when they're projectiles. You want to be trying to ask them, or not ask them, sorry. You want to be waiting until they're already shooting at you and like the projectile's basically already in motion before you bubble yourself. Because here he's just like looking around, not even doing anything. And this is fine, but you need to be backing up towards your team instead of the other direction. That's what killed you here. So here, he's got one little tiny dot of cummies on the point. Like, you're fine. And especially because you can jump on the point and just go over it. So you definitely need to be backing up towards your team here because you don't have your Rhine with you and you don't have anyone with you. So like you need to be backing up towards either your healers or your team because you don't have a Lucio to get you out. So like you can't outrun people if they chase you. Like if somebody's in your LOS and you hold S and they hold W, you will not be breaking that LOS. Basically, because like the distance between you guys will never change. So unless you get around a corner, it's just not happening. And this is like, this corner here is like a big, circle, right? So like, unless it's a hard corner like this, where you can actually break the LOS in like one step, you're not going to break LOS, because it's like a curve. So like, every step that they take, they can see a little more, and every step that you take, you can see a little less. So they're just going to, like, you will never break that distance unless you have a Lucio to get you to outpace them. So you can't be doing this unless you have a Lucio with you, or just a teammate where you can protect each other, like Reinhardt, or you can just go in together or something. So you need to be backing up towards your team here. You're a little aggressive because you use your bubble there, and then you would end. But I think, yeah. So I know you were like scared of the turret, but like turret doesn't do that much damage, So I would have been backing up the other direction here. Okay, you guys have a ton of ults here, so I think you gotta be thinking about which ones you're gonna be using this fight. I think you should be using probably Grav and Beat, or Grav and Reaper ult. It depends, because your Reaper just died, right? So your Reaper literally just died, which means that if, say that there was the fattest Grav in the world right in front of you, then you wouldn't have a Reaper ult to follow up with it, right? But say you still wanted to do it, then I would probably, depending on the situation, throw your Beat on top of it so everybody can get really aggressive on the Grav and not worry about dying. Because there's not a whole ton of great ults for Beat to counter against their team comp. Like, they're okay, but like a lot of them are really hard to react to, or they're just not that good because you can just LOS them half the time. So, and obviously you are on attack, so I do think that throwing your Beat on top of it is totally fine to just protect people so they can follow up on the Grav and then get really inside of it. I would definitely not blade your Grav because you almost have nano, and you just want to save that for a second combo because you want to be able to like cycle combos, and that's the only other combo you really have. I guess you could do Nano Blossom with speed boost, but he's not in your stack. You do, and like obviously if you can keep a combo within your stack, you should. And Nano Blade is like the tried and true. So like I would just keep that. I'd be walking up here to get charge. There's a decent bubble in your Genji, but ultimately not needed. You should be walking up to get charge here. So your bubbles are always really early here against projectile heroes. So you wanna like wait a second, So like you don't do it just immediately when you see them. So you want to make sure you're actually like in an open like line of fire when you bubble yourself. So you watch right here. Like if you were in this room, like you've already bubbled yourself basically. If you were like even if she kept shooting, you wouldn't have gotten a full charge off this bubble. So if you were standing like here, I think this would be fine. Because you'd be taking damage from her and the hog. You could, and then she can't break LOS with you unless you want her to. The same thing with like that corner I was talking about. So she can't just like walk back and just get out of LOS, right? You can just continue to walk forward until like your bubble's basically broken and then back off. Like so you can continue to soak and then back off as your bubble's breaking. Here, you can't do that. She just takes a step back and you can't see her and you can't chase her. So like she just breaks LOS and you can't do anything about it. So like you press bubble and they're just gone. They just vanished. So you do want to get in front of your Rhine shield when you bubble yourself. That was a really bad bubble. So bubbling Reaper when he's in Wraith form, not usually a good idea. You can see his health bar. He was full HP. He didn't need it. I'm assuming you can see his health bar. I'm pretty confident that you have health bars turned on, and if you don't, then you should. So you see a full HP Reaper Wraith moding away. He does not need a bubble, especially he's like inside you. Here it would have been a good time to put it on your Rhine if you hadn't used it on the 1 HP Reaper or the full HP Reaper. Once again, your Rhine was holding S there when you bubbled him. It would have been great to use it on your Reaper there so he could follow up on the grab, or to use it on your Rhine here so he could follow up on the grab. Okay, use the cart here for cover, it's fine. Yeah, you thought it was just wasted bubbles back to back to back. So you wasted bubble on yourself, you wasted bubble on your Reaper, you didn't have it for the Rhine. I was just falling apart after that. So you no longer have Nano Blade, you no longer have Grab, you no longer have Shatter, you no longer have a Reaper ult. You didn't win the fight, unlucky. So this fight, you should have been bubbling your Rhine there. I was talking, so I didn't say anything. Oh, that is a perfect example of what I was talking about. Okay, so. Alright, so right here, so they're spamming down this hallway, right? So they aren't really going to be breaking LOS because like this Orisa is like in the open, right? Like pretty far out in the open. So like she's going to be shooting for a while, and either way, even if she wasn't, if you just bubble your Rhine, he can cross this distance without using his shield, so you should be bubbling the Rhine here. And they are spamming with the Orisa, and like this is down this long hallway. And if you're just walking down a hallway, you just want protection to go down that with your bubble. And he can move faster with a bubble on him than he can holding right click, so that's good too. Anyways, so okay, so right here you should be bubbling the Rhine. He's just kind of walking back and forth. Alright, now you bubble yourself. That was perfect. So see, you caught a full Roadhog right click there. So 1 second, bam, your bubble was immediately 40 charge. That's perfect. That's what you want. So that's what I was talking about how Roadhog is just great for going for charge with your bubbles. Here your Rhine shield is about to break. He's probably going to let it break because he's a weirdo. So when that happens, you want to bubble him because he's going to get hooked. Okay, so he let it break. Probably bubble him as it's breaking. Right there, you bubble him. You need to get charged. Okay, that was not good. So I want to communicate, tell him to peek the corner, and then bubble him. If you're not going to communicate with the Rhine and you can't, just put it on your Reaper. Just tell your Reaper to teleport behind him, like he just did up there, and then bubble him. Because you see your Reaper just jumped into the back line there? That's a good time to do it as well. So just watch. So look at your Reaper, right? So you see your Reaper to your left. You see he's TPing up top right. You see that up on the top? So this means he's going to drop down on them, and then he's going to shoot a couple times, and then he will Wraith mode out and leave. So if you bubble him while he's doing that, you'll allow him to take a couple more shots before he has to Wraith mode. And you'll definitely get charged off of that. So right here you shouldn't be backing up. You should be sitting on the corner, watching your Reaper up on the top right, and then you see right here, he drops into the back line. You see him there? All the way in the back? You should have been bubbling him right as he fell. Like right as he dropped off this corner right here, you should have been bubbling him, and you would have definitely got a bunch of charge, and he might have even killed a support off of it. And you probably would have blocked a flashbang too. Instead, let's just see what happens to your Reaper. But I do think he would have been fine here. Yeah, so you would have, that's fine. The bubble on the Reaper was a little late, but you did get it. But in general, you want to like allow it to be, way early. So that's fine. Your Rhine is dead. So unlucky. Okay. So way earlier on the bubble on the Reapers. If you can't get it on your Rhine, you want to be communicating with your Reaper here because your Kree's not a great bubble target. Lucio can be if he's like diving someone, but he's not really. He's just kind of chilling with the team. So you don't want to be bubbling that usually. So communicate with your Rhine, say hey hold W, and then same with the Reaper. If you want to bubble him, that's good, but don't do it just when he's on high ground, like not fighting anyone. You want to wait till he's fighting someone, or until he's like about to. Oh god, stress me out. Okay, so you were gonna be breaking LOS there. You had tons of time to break LOS there. So right here. So he presses Q. You're standing right next to this corner. You're literally, like, even without bubble, you could make it behind this corner without any trouble. But instead you walk forward. So just watch this from an aerial perspective and see how you just decide not to, you know, use your bubble to get to safety. So you didn't even need it. You could have just walked to your left and you would have been alive. So you just LOS this and it's fine. He gets nothing. Instead you were like, hey, yeah, I'll bait him into shooting my bubble. But if that plan fails, you need to have something to fall back on. Like, you need to have cover after that 2 seconds is up. So you walk forward here into the high noon. So, like, there's no reason, like, you had so much time there. You see how long that took? Like, there's no reason that you should still be in LOS here. You should definitely be behind this wall on the side, or you definitely should have been on your way to this. But I don't think I would do that either. But the point is, like, there is absolutely zero reason that he should have got a kill there. Because there was just so much time for you to get out of the way. Okay, last fight. Don't think you can touch. I think that might be it. Yeah. Okay. Well, better communication on your bubbles. Like, a lot of them are like, the timing's not that bad. It's just that your teammates' aggression is not matching up with your bubbling, right? So you want to be bubbling people when they're getting aggressive or when they're being dove or something. So a lot of the time you're bubbling people as they're backing off. So like you say, oh yeah, this guy's aggressive, he's aggressive, so I'll bubble him. And then like you're bubbling him as they leave, you know? So you want to be bubbling them as they go in, or you want to be communicating with them, hey, I'm about to bubble you, so they don't just leave immediately with the bubble. Or something to that effect. So here I'd start by peeking. You want to walk in front of the shield. You should real too far back. So that was free. You should be at 40 charge already. So you see those, like you should be way closer. So right here on the corner, and this is where you should be. So like, I'm just going to slow-mo this real fast. Like, watch. So like, you are too far back. Too far back. Too far back. This is okay. So right here, you see these rockets coming into the shield. You should be walking in front of the shield to take these rockets into your bubble for free charge. It's free spam damage. So walk in front of the shield here, but you're backing up, and you're backing up more. So like, there's no way that you're going to be getting, like, from all the way back here, there's zero chance you're going to be getting off a good self bubble for charge. And the first thing you should be doing is going for a self bubble for charge when they're spamming. And this is the perfect opportunity with this Pharah. So you could, because like even if she misses your bubble, if you stand right in front of your Rhine shield, and it backboards on the Rhine shield, she will still get you with the splash damage. So like she literally can't even miss. So you just stand in front of your Rhine shield and bubble yourself, and like, or bubble your Rhine at least. You know, like that was free charge and you just didn't take any of it. So 100% would have bubbled yourself there in front of your Rhine shield, or bubbled your Rhine, and instead your Rhine shield is 1 HP, you have 0 charge, and you're standing in the back of the point like a sniper. So be a little bit more aggressive. You want to be way up in this corner here. Like, you're behind everyone right now. You're behind your supports, you're behind your DPS, you're behind your Rhine, you're just way in the back. So you got to be way further up. That was a decent bubble. That being said, that should have been your second bubble, because you've had bubbles for so long, and that's the first one you've used. So you could have bubbled yourself and your Rhine immediately when you saw those Pharah rockets, because that is free charge. So if your Rhine managed to take 2 rockets and you managed to take 2 rockets to the shield, your shields, you're 80 charged already, and you would have had that second bubble right there as well. And also, your Rhine shield wouldn't have broken right there because he would have dropped it to take some charge, or you would have just soaked up some damage with your bubble. And you would have soaked up some with your self bubble and with the team bubble, and his shield wouldn't just already be broken. So your team's at a massive disadvantage here because your shield's already gone and their shield is full HP. So do try to make sure you're getting good value on your shields there. That was a decent bubble on yourself. This Rhine should feed. It's not. So right there, your Ana probably should have been looking for a nade there. And then like right when he lands that pin, because this is the perfect opportunity for it. Because like their Rhine does a stupid charge. Very stupid. You see it coming a mile away. Your Rhine also sees it coming a mile away. Doesn't get out of the way though. You did just get naded yourself here, but at the very least you could sleep him, you know. So, but the point is like everybody on your team should be attacking this Rhine when he lands this pin and saving your Rhine. So you should be spamming E on your Rhine here. And you see right there, you can get the bubble off. If you were spamming E, you get a bubble on your Rhine right here. So he should have lived, because you 100% have bubble here. If you're spamming E, you get it off. Instead, he dies. So, because if you were just holding it and looking at your Rhine, it would already be going off right now. And then he dies. So, you got to be spamming E then. The Zarya's half HP out of position. You don't want to bubble people when they're not being looked at. So that Zarya was looking at you. The Reaper was creeped up behind her. Right? You don't want to just bubble him when he's standing behind her. So like, watch. So he's just behind her here. And the Zarya's looking at you. Like, she's not looking at him. And then you bubble him. So you want to do it when people are going in, or like if the Zarya was going to live and then fight him, then maybe you continue. If the fight is dragging on, then you bubble the Reaper. But that just wasn't a very good bubble. So focus the Rhine here. That's good. So walk up and just punch him. Punch him. Nice. Okay, so here your Rhine, I believe, is almost back. Okay, so you have a Doomfist as well. You can be going for bubbles on. So bubble your Reaper here when he goes up to the Genji. Just kidding, lol. Okay, he's dead. So your Reaper was getting a pretty aggressive. Your Reaper is doing a pretty aggressive teleport there, so I definitely would have tried to bubble him there. There Genji was out of position. You definitely could have killed him. So he had no cooldowns here, and he was just stuck in the corner. So right here, I would have bubbled your Reaper instead of turning away, because he did die there. But you saw him keep peeking, and it was just a good time to bubble him when he was peeking aggressively like that. So right here, Genji uses Deflect, and then dashes into your team. He should be dead right now, because he has used both cooldowns, and he's standing inside your entire team, and you are 90 charge. And he's antied. So you just hold left click here, look at him, and then he's literally terrified. He is antied, half HP, sitting in this corner with 0 cooldowns, right? He's like, please God, don't focus me. So focus him. Just look at this shit. He's just sitting here, half HP, with no cooldowns. Right next to all you guys. So if you just walk around this corner and just you just right click a couple times, he's dead. Or you just left click him and right click him in the face, he's dead. Like, he cannot escape there. So you look like you're kind of, I don't know, not sure where to look a little bit because you were like a little distracted. So do have like, you know, a bit more like target focus on, like, don't just let targets get away because they break LOS. You know, like, he should be dying then. If you just held W after him, he dies. There's bubble on your Rhine there would have been good. I do think you were trying to with the Lucio, you yoinked it. So that's kind of fine. But yeah, that Genji should have died there. He was really weak, antied, no cooldowns, right in front of you. And you were very high charge. So it wouldn't have taken much to even kill him. So I do think that's what lost you the fight there, because he did a blade.
Just like in training.
So you want to take these rockets, stand in front of your Rhine shield, take the rocket. Okay, you waited until all the projectiles were passed and then did it. So here you want to wait until the hog is about to shoot, like, and then bubble. You're bubbling pretty early there. So wait until, like, don't bubble as they're peeking in the corner, bubble like as they have already peeked the corner. Bubble your Rhine here. Do some bubble on your Rhine. Um, okay, yeah, winnable. You got Orion. Their Hog has no shield, so just burn him down here. Be looking at the Pharah above you. Pharah is above you. She was pretty close above you there. Would have been a good one to focus. He's killing him. Still be looking up because you hear the Pharah right above you. You definitely could kill her. Oh, don't want to bubble the Ryan there when you hear the hook. And right after your Ryan dies, you know they're going to shatter. I do believe I told you that before, but like when your Ryan dies and they have shatter, you know they're about to do it because your shield's gone. And you can still block it with your self shield, so right there you need to be camping the left shift button so you can be blocking the shatter with your shield. At least for yourself. So right here, your Ryan dies, so you know they're going to do it. He even did a jump before it. Very kind of him to jump before the shatter, like some kind of weirdo that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Jumping. Welcome to gold. So it gives you lots of time to react to this. So you should definitely have been able to get your left shift off here because he screwed up by jumping, and also it was very telegraphed. Like they killed your Ryan, and then you obviously both teams have a lot of ults right now. Nobody's shattered this game. It's been like 3 minutes, so like people have ults. So you know they have shatter. Your Ryan just died. The only other thing that can block it is you. He's in gold. He doesn't think that, so he's just like, hey, shield's gone, shatter. He's not even wrong. So, but you just need to be thinking, what can I do to stop this? And you could have definitely stopped it with your your self bubble there. That was a decent grab though, because that stopped the follow up as well. Nance bubble on the Reaper to stop him from getting totally destroyed. You do want to be getting a lot more aggressive here when you're up like this. You're just kind of like holding W-A-D-A-D back and forth. Like you guys are up here. Not anymore. Okay, now you run. You either walk straight past that, like now, or you just run. Okay, now your Reaper's dead. You definitely, now it's run. But you guys could have ended that. You were up, and you had your, you had your tank and everything, and you had a pick. You just need to walk in and get aggressive there. But you were kind of like, you were still like trying to like grind them out and stuff, like from playing corners and shit, allowing them to break LOS. So when their Ryan lands the pin there, you want to be finishing it with a right-click melee because he's going to get the shield up, right? So right before he gets the shield up, you want to right-click melee for the biggest burst that you can right before he stops you from putting damage into it. So here, you should be tracking left-click the entire way, right? So track left-click, 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 and then right there, you right-click melee him to finish it. And he would have died because you're fairly high charge. So right here you'll see him charge. And left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. And then right there. Right click melee. Right there. Bang. And that would have killed him. Also, you just want to be standing, like holding W and just standing inside him because he's going to be trying to get the shield up, right? Because he's feeding his brains out. So you want to be trying to make sure that you're so close to him that he can't get a shield between you and him because he's in your backline, right? So if you're just inside him, you can still damage him with your left click and stuff. So you just want to be making sure you don't let him create any space at all because you have a ton of HP, he has none. He basically has to shield or he dies. So you're allowing him to, also don't focus that, there's no one in it. Bubbling for 3 there. It's on the right. Okay. You gotta be touching. Oh god. So you're the tank, you need to be on point here. Bubble your Lucio because he's on point. Kill their Ryan, you're not being aggressive enough, you need to be walking in. I like that you're left clicking the shield, that's good. Focus the Ryan because your shield's down, you gotta be bubbling yourself there a little earlier. Be trying to play behind the cart a little bit instead of in front of the cart. Right there, I'd probably grab the backline because the Ryan just charged in. There's no one to protect it. Your Reaper's in there too. You could have bubbled him to follow up on it. I probably would have. That's fine. I guess I probably would have grabbed the Genji though. I think because there was no one to follow up on that in the backline there. So I would have done that for the Genji to stop him from getting anything done with the blade because you guys didn't have beat for it. So here, you shouldn't be playing out in the open like this. You should be trying to play Ring Around the Rosie on the cart. So you're kind of just hopping back and forth, praying they don't hit you, and you just backed up as they push the cart. So instead of backing up here, it's like watch. So when they push in, instead of backing up and just standing in the open, you want to be using the cover of the cart. So right here, you walk back up to the cart. Right here's good. Now you stay here, right? You've already backed up. You've already messed up. So like right here, like pretend this camera's you, right? So they're walking in, and you just play like this. You peek a little bit, and then you play the corner, and you go around here. You go into the back line. You go like you do the like you don't just let them push you back, into the like because here you use your bubble, and then you're just trapped in the open and praying your healers can out heal the damage of the entire enemy team. So you should already be on the cart, like, because you need to be contesting, because you keep leaving it to other people to contest. Like, your Lucio is doing a really good job contesting right now, but that's your job a lot of the time. You're the tank. You need to be the one on point. So you could have just played some Ring Around the Rosie there, and, like, it would have been pretty annoying to kill you. Or at the very least, you would have had more cover, and it would have been a lot easier for you to get some stuff done. Would have bubbled your Reaper immediately there when he uses his ult. It's okay, though. So if anyone on your team ever presses Q and you have bubble, your immediate reaction should be to bubble them. Okay, so here I'd walk in front and I would get some charge on this. Yep, so I would get some charge on this Roadhog. Right clicks, so when you have an Orisa, you want to make sure that she puts down the shield before you do that. You do want to have a reaction, like, in your head. So, like, you need to be, like, trained. You hear get down or whatever Roadhog says, you hear the hook latching sound, you should be spamming E in the general direction of the enemy team. And as your teammate gets hooked through your LOS, you will put a bubble on them. So you should have been able to bubble that, I think. So that bubble on yourself wasn't too great. But right here, you'll hear the hook connect. You should be turning left here and spamming E at the door. Like, at this door. You just keep spamming E. And then as your creep passes through it, he will get the bubble and he'll be fine. Like, the bubble was fine there, but it was definitely late. He should have died. If that hog was good, he kills the McCree there, and that bubble was too late. Since you didn't get the bubble on him to block the hook follow-up damage, it's fine to bubble him to leave, even though you didn't get any charge. It did still save his life because they couldn't just shoot him again. But yeah, the bubble was late. So here, you want to walk him forward a little bit and then bubble yourself. Walk in front of your shield and then bubble yourself. You haven't used any of your bubbles in a long time. You're not getting any value here. You haven't bubbled yourself in a while. There we go. Okay. So you should be able to kill her there. I would definitely just be holding left click. You don't want to push when you're reloading right there. That was almost really bad. So you want to make sure that when you're pushing, you're not reloading like on a corner. You want to reload and then push, because she does lots of damage. You can't just like disrespect that. Okay, so you hear that they have a Doomfist, and he's up on the top. He just backed off. You should be pushing that Ryan, maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't let him take that for free. He should be killing the Ryan. He's kind of feeding over there by himself. Breaking shield's also fine. You want to bubble your McCree when he does that, not your Orisa. You want to be pushing this because you are up, so you need to be getting aggressive. Bubbling your Orisa. Killing there, Orisa. Yeah, so when you're up, you want to get aggressive here. Because you were kind of giving him lots of free space there when you guys were the ones that would pick. I think you just lose here. So nice bubble getting the person furthest up there. You do have someone on the cart, so you're good to push up probably. You do see him up there. Nice. Okay, they have a ball trying to touch probably. He just fell off the map. Okay. Okay, so this fight you have Reaper ult or High Noon with your grab. So you just gotta be so their Rhine just charged in again, right? So this is free. So not on the Rhine. Not on the Rhine. He's free too. I guess you could kill him. But what else you could do is you could kill his entire team. Because they have 0 protection from your grab right now. They have no Lucio beat because they just used it. They have no Moira ult, and even if they did, that wouldn't be enough to save them from grab because you have an anti. So they have nothing. They have Zarya bubbles. So when you see their Rhine just charging like a friggin' idiot like this, your thought, a lot of the time, yes, should be everybody walk into this Rhine and delete his ass because he's being stupid. So you can kill him then, and that's fine, and that's a good way to win the fight. But when you have Grav and he just abandons his entire team walking through the choke, you should just be walking up here, waiting for the rest of his team to start coming in and just grab them. I wouldn't grab these two because both of them can press left shift and get out of it. But as a general rule, if the rest of his team is coming in here, you just grab them. Focusing him here is fine as well, but he should definitely die here for this. So your McCree should roll into him, you should bubble the McCree as he does so, and then you should just shit on him. So you just let him go there, it's not really good. Yeah, you just totally let him out. So you gotta be way more aggressive when he's speeding like that. So here, you grab him, the Ryan's on the flank again like a weirdo. Make sure that your Ana is ready with a nade and that other people are ready with the follow-up, which doesn't look like they really were. Like, we did use the high noon, but we got like no one with it, so I don't know where they were. Maybe if you needed to know where your McCree was, he was way back here, it looks like. So I don't know if you were trying to communicate a combo there. If you were trying to communicate Grav high noon, which it looks like we might have been because we used them at the same time, you got to make sure that he's an LOS, or he has to make sure that he's an LOS of your Grav. You gotta be like, okay, I'm gonna grab and I'm gonna put it here, so like you know where the McCree's gonna be. Alternatively, I think I probably would have just comboed with your Reaper instead. That's probably the combo I would have gone for if I could have. But if you want to go for the high noon, that's fine. But you want to be making sure that your McCree is going to be an LOS of it. Where I probably would have put the McCree is right here. Is where I would have put him, and then I would have put a bubble on him. So I would have grabbed, 180'd, bubbled him. Yeah, it looks like this. So I do think most of this problems is communicating from slight mistimings of the bubble or just communication. Like, if you just tell people when you're going to be using the bubble on them, you'll get a lot more, you'll get a lot better bubbles, even like without even doing anything yourself. Because like if somebody knows they're about to be bubbled, they'll play it differently. You know, they'll intentionally get a little bit more aggressive, and that alone will just net you some more charge. Against projectile heroes, which is most of the time the people you want to be trying to get your charge against is projectile heroes, because obviously they release the projectile and then it's in the air and they can't stop it. It's already on the way. So like you wait for them to shoot and then you walk in front of the projectile and bubble yourself. And all projectile heroes, almost without exception, have kind of like a downtime between their shots. Like they're all like burst fire basically. So like Torbjorn, Hanzo, Pharah, like all of those, and Roadhog, like they all like they shoot once and then they have to wait a second. And they shoot once and they have to wait a second. So in that like that pause between their shots, you need to be thinking, okay, I'm gonna bubble myself for the next shot. So as you can like because you hear the Hanzo pull it back, boom, arrow comes and it hits somebody's shield, and then you see the next arrow go by. You see the next arrow go by, and then you go, okay, I'll catch this next one, and then you walk in front of it, and like you can predict when it's going to be coming by, and you just bubble yourself. That's how it is for basically all projectile heroes. You got to be thinking about when the next one's coming and stepping in front of it and bubbling yourself. I do want to see you standing in front of your Rhine shield way more often. You're playing in the back line a lot, backing up really, really far a lot of the time. So I think make sure you're walking in front of your Rhine shield and bubbling yourself a lot more. You did it a lot back when we were playing in Scrub Cup. You did a really good job with that. But it just looks like it's not transferring over to your rank games as much. So do try to make sure that you're just sticking with your Reinhardt a little bit and walking in front and bubbling yourself and then backing off. Like a lot of the time you're backing off and then bubbling yourself as you're continuing to back off, and then you get zero charge out of it. So definitely before the fight starts, got to be trying to bubble yourself early. Okay, my voice is dying, so I'm going to end it here. If you do have any questions, just let me know.